Peace, Facebook friends, family,
Yeah, what's up?
global. We here with the brother Lukee, Forbes. Activist, entrepreneur, creator, developer. Um, yeah, pretty much. You can let the people know more about you. What they ain't know.
So my name is Lukee Forbes. I work for the city of Albany as a summer youth employment administrative assistant. I'm also the youth office manager for the youth opportunity office. I'm also a real active. I'm an activist for the city. I'm real active with that. I also work with. I'm the COO for a development company called Development. We just recently lost one of our owners, Shad Gaspar. We just recently lost him. I also work with an organization called Pulse, where I'm the community organizer. We got a couple of programs. One of our leading programs is the Superhero Academy, where we actually go into the schools and we teach the kids a character development curriculum about how to identify the hero characteristics in people. We start off the question like, who is your favorite superhero? We actually are dressed as superheroes at the time too.
What's the age group?
The age group is really from young adults to around like 12, 13-ish. We kind of cut it off. For the older kids, we got something else brewing for them. So we basically help them identify the different morals that go with being a superhero, like the bravery, the responsibility, the want to help. And then we also have them utilize their problem-solving skills and how they can critically think on solving like different problems. So we'll have them work in groups where each of them will come up with a power and then solve with their power the problem that we give them. Like whether or not it's like if 1,000 ninjas attacked your school, what would you do? And it's fun to watch these kids because they come up with all the wildest ideas on how they would creatively work together and stop these ninjas from attacking their schools, all the way to problems that really affect today's society, like global warming or world hunger. And it's fun to just again listen to these kids come up with these problems.
That's a visual.
And it helps them identify it right now.
And mommy asking, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25, so you're pretty young yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot. We linked up maybe about a year or two ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. I came home July 5th, 2018. I believe we met like around November-ish.
No, we met at the march.
Was it to stop the violence?
Yeah, the march.
Was it to stop the violence? That was the first time we met?
I think so, yeah.
I knew you for so long.
And you was set up. You was set up at the McDonald's house,
yeah,
right?
So
I led the march, stop the violence march we did. And you pretty much was at the side. Cause my kids went over to get ice cream, and my little daughter and my son was over to get the ice cream. You had the ice cream set up over there.
So that was from a program that I had put together. Like I said, I came home July 5th, 2018, and when I got released, I got a job at Red Lobster, but they weren't giving me enough hours. So I got a second job at McDonald's. And I ended up talking with my GM, and I got her to sponsor me on a program called Mix Save the Youth, where we were able to bring out children activities to different events around the city during the summer. And that was like one of the first events that we went to, and we was giving out different prizes. You see, we had the hamster balls out there and all that stuff. Yeah, it was real fun.
Yeah, that was definitely good. And then you pretty much I said it stuck out to me because we did events after. Eve did the Push Through conference. You spoke on that. You told your story, but you have a pretty good story too. You gave back some time to the gave back some time from the system.
I had won my appeal. Okay. I got a 12 jury conviction overlifted. What they try to teach us in schools and in different communities is that once you're locked up, it's over. But it's not true. Just how they get their cousins out off loopholes and things like that, we're able to get it out the same way.
So you did a lot of studying when you were saying. How much time did they give you?
I got 3 and the 3s to 10s.
So that's 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much time you gave back?
I got a 3 to 9 once I won my appeal.
So how much time you wanted to do?
That's 21. That's 21 years.
So out of the 30 years they gave you, by you studying and you doing your history, how much time was you able to give back? 21. So you gave back 21 years, so you did 9.
No, I did, 9 if you include the time I did on parole, but altogether locked up I did 7.
7? Yeah. Over 30 years, you gave back 23 years.
21.
Wow, 21 years. Wow, that's a blessing. It's a blessing right there. So how do you feel?
I feel amazing. Like, it's like, again, like how I won my appeal.
How did you? Yeah, that was the next question.
My appeal, I won it off of prosecutor misconduct. Now, prosecutor misconduct is when the prosecutor does something flagrantly. There's a few things that fall under that characteristic. David Soos is actually trying to get rid of that, like get rid of prosecutors from getting checked. I just want to drop that in there.
He's trying to get rid of the laws that will allow the prosecutors to get.
There's an actual board, like when you can write up prosecutors and things like that. He's trying to get rid of it.
He's trying to get rid of that act.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
not good.
That's not good.
Right.
But so one of the things that I actually won my appeal off of was when the prosecutor said one sentence: "If you believe him, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you." And I got a 12 jury conviction overturned because not only is that prosecutor misconduct, he's also placing the burden of proof on me now, as if I have to prove my innocence.
Or that actual judge.
Yeah, no, the prosecutor, district attorney. So that was during his summation. Now the summation is the last statement given by the district attorney. And in the beginning of trial, when your lawyer actually has the ability to go last during the first intro of the case. The intro into trial, your lawyer has the ability to go last and the district attorney goes first. So basically, your lawyer has the ability to shoot down everything the district attorney says. Right. But summation, the ending process of the trial where everyone gives their final arguments, the district attorney goes last and your lawyer goes first. Okay. So the district attorney has the ability to shoot down everything that your lawyer says.
Has to say on your behalf. Okay.
Now, most of the times, like every time, all the time, district attorneys, they're really just there trying to get the moral factor. Right. And they end up getting too invested in speaking that they normally say fragrantly things. And as long as you're able to,
loophole.
It's always a loophole. As long as you're able to read, study, and find your case. When I actually violated parole because I got drunk at Lucky Strikes, and I ended up getting kicked out of the bar. And they left me in the mall, and I started stumbling around. I stumbled into the Gap, and I knocked over like a closed pal, and I just walked out the back. They charged me with burglary in third and criminal mischief in third.
And you wasn't even conscious at the time.
Wasn't even conscious. Right. Now, these are two crimes of intent. Now, when I first was arraigned on the charges, I was trying to have a preliminary hearing. Now, you're supposed to have a preliminary hearing within 72 days. But unfortunately, I didn't have a preliminary hearing there for 72 days. I kept trying to get my lawyer to get me one. The first offer that they offered me before I was even indicted was a 1.5 to 3 while I was on parole. And they said that they offered me that because I was on parole. Right. He was like, I didn't even read your packet. The district attorney said he didn't even read my packet. That
just offered you anything.
Just offered me anything. And mind you, I told him, you should actually read my packet.
Right.
Then you would know.
Do your job.
You would know that that's not what you should be doing. Right. And they didn't do that. I was in the county for a little while, and then I put into order produce. Now, order produce actually is how you can request the courts to summon you.
So you could have copped out to just took the little 1 1/3 was it 1 1/3 to 3. Yeah. Right, which most brothers in your situation usually they take the cop out.
Yeah,
right?
They always take the cop out.
So a lot of times we don't get to fight our innocence or get to fight the charge because we just look at it as, let me just take this.
Let me just take this before I have to get indicted and go to trial.
Okay. So what made you? So what made you want to fight it and
because
go into it?
Me knowing the law, I know that crimes of intent, you have to prove intent. Right. Now, in order for you to be charged of a felony, there are steps that have to be taken. They got to give you a preliminary hearing. At a preliminary hearing, that's where they prove probable cause whether or not a felony was committed. So when I was asking for it, they weren't trying to give it to me. But within the time, I requested my ambulance statement. And now when they did their cognitive test, they asked me what year it was. This happened in July 5th, 2017. They asked me what year it was. I said it was, I don't remember the date, but I said it was 2013 and that the president was Bush.
Okay.
So sober me know that Bush wasn't president in 2013.
He wasn't in your right mind.
I was not in my right mind. The police tried to question me and did not question me because I was drunk. So I got both of those things. I had requested both of those things. I did a FOIL act. to get both of those things for my evidence. And they weren't trying to give me a preliminary hearing, but I was already prepared. So I put in an order to produce. And when I got there, my lawyer was like, "What are you doing? I'm just waiving it to grand jury. Like, it's pointless. We could just beat it there." And I'm like, waiving it to grand jury now, if
so
there's...
So they try to get you to waive your preliminary?
Yes.
They try to get most African-American brothers to do.
To waive the preliminary. And now he was telling me, because I was on parole, if I have a preliminary hearing and the district attorney R&R'd me, I would just be sitting in there on the parole hold. But now... that's what they tell you, and that's what he was telling me. They're just going to R&R you, and you're going to be on a parole hold. But understand that a preliminary hearing is there so that they can determine whether or not a case had probable cause that a felony was committed. We're not here so that you can release me on my own reconnaissance.
Right.
We're here to see if I'm indictable. If I'm indictable. So when I went to the courthouse and they were saying this, I told my lawyer, like, he wasn't trying to hear me, I want my preliminary. So when I went out there, I was just like, forget it, we can just waive it. So when I went in front of the judge, the judge was like, "Are you willing to waive your preliminary hearing?" When he asked me, I said, "No, Your Honor. I've been asking for a preliminary hearing for the past 42 days. The district attorney isn't trying to give me one. I've been asking for this." And my lawyer is telling me that the district attorney is saying he's going to R&R me when we're supposed to be proving probable cause here. And I said, penal law section 15.05 states the criminal mindset. There's intentionally, knowingly, recklessness, and criminal negligence. I was acting reckless because I was under the influence of alcohol, which I took willingly. Now, criminal negligence is if you're roofied. But I was acting reckless, and the charges that they charged me with were both of crimes of intent. So it went from the district attorney trying to R&R me to them telling me to go into the back into the bullpen and taking me back out and giving me time served.
Okay.
So it went from a 1.5 to 3 to time served for a misdemeanor.
Wow.
He offered me a 1.5 to 3 for a whole felony, and I got time served for a misdemeanor.
Walked away
because I knew the law.
That's a blessing. So what charge was you charged with for the 3 counts?
I was charged for assault in the first degree, and even that, I'm still iggy about that because my case is weird. Like, both of my co-defendants stated that I didn't hit the victim, and the way that I was sentenced, it was really because I denied any cooperation, and the justice system doesn't like that. They want people to cooperate, and if they feel as if you're not cooperating with the law, that they must punish you harder instead of just giving you fair justice. Just because I'm not willing to testify doesn't mean that I should be given more time.
So you wound up giving 23 years back for the prosecution, but from the prosecutor and the judge that sentenced you that with that, what happened to those guys?
So the prosecutor, the judge himself, he actually is the head public defender now. I actually wrote him up too, because his oath of office was invalid. He had an invalid oath of office because he got it notarized by an expired notary. Now, notary law actually states that once a notary is expired, they're to cease from stamping anything. Now, oath of office law, judicial law actually states that oath of offices can only be administered by certain individuals, and an expired notary is not one of those individuals to administer oath of office. But then I also strengthened my argument because his first oath of office, it was signed at the top instead of the line where he was supposed to sign, as if someone wrote his name in for him. And it was just literally disrespecting the document itself. He had no real moral bound to the law itself, where he didn't even respect the documents.
So that stamp, pretty much you writing them up for having expired notary and not having a valid
oath of office.
Oath of office.
Now,
got him demoted.
When you don't have a valid oath of office, you cannot practice judicial duties. Any judicial duty that you do is faulty. It's an act of false judgment. And literally every case that he's prosecuted should be overturned because of that. Now, there is an appellate process that would have to go into play, but truth be told, that should be done by the people instead of themselves. Like, these people should not have to be forced to put in these different lengthy arguments in order to be freed when they know that this is going on.
So you sound like a lawyer a little bit or something.
I do sound like a lawyer a little bit. But
you ever look into the law?
I have, but there's literally a process in law where district attorneys and lawyers just come up with deals, and I can't picture myself doing that. And I'm about saving. I'm about action.
I see.
So right now,
I see you in the mix every time I turn the TV on. I see you in the lead of the march with the blowhorn. You know, you got the people. You know, you galvanize them, the marches and all. And I say that's good. You know, that thing give me hype because that's what I do. I'm used to that too. So I'm looking at it's like, you know, it's a good look, and not only a good look, it's a cause behind it. Yeah. Because you've been discriminated on. You've been in situations where it was like your voice couldn't be heard because you said 30 years. Yeah. You would still be in there right now. Yeah. If you just sat down and didn't stand up for something, if you didn't do your research and stuff. So this everything that's going on now means what to you? It
means a lot, and this we have to really identify what's going on here. We are fighting a war within a war. And it's not the war that we think. It's not a physical war. This is really a media war where we're being pushed. We have to pay attention to our actions, because if we are able to unify the people against the actual criminals within our communities, we can literally support the individuals that are in place that want to get these people out.
Right. And now, if you mind speaking about the enemies that's in position.
Yes, I'm definitely willing to speak about the enemies.
Speak about the enemies that's in position, so we can identify with them.
We have a union president for the Albany Police Department called Greg McGee. Now, Greg McGee is literally a gang leader where he is allowing these criminals to commit criminal activities and he's protecting them. He controls their money. He controls the budget. He's demanding higher pay for these employees that commit heinous crimes. He's demanding no actions being done to them. He's demanding more lethal equipment. This is what the union president is doing. Demanding these things. Demanding that his police officers not be fired, not be suspended.
I don't know how true it is, but I just heard the police department has a budget of $50 million every year, right? And they only allocate 700 and something to the youth program or something like that. I don't know how true it is, but I heard something like that today.
I've heard and seen that the police department only gave out like $750 to a whole basketball tournament where they have $650,000 on a militarized vehicle that they barely used. Even this new way of policing where they're utilizing non-lethal rounds and tear gas. Imagine they have been doing this. We wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
If y'all been using non-lethal rounds, we wouldn't be here right now because no one would have died. No one would have been paralyzed.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be marching right now.
Imagine if the executive orders already said that you should check your police officer if he's doing something frequently. And
how about that video I sent you earlier? You thought about
I didn't see that one. What you talking about?
I guess it was a bunch of police officers saying that they have to come up with a quota every week.
Yeah. The quota. Oh my gosh. The quota.
Where they have
the
to
quota
target,
system.
They have to target minority groups. They have to target African American, Latino groups, and they have to come back to their station with a certain amount of arrest.
The quota system is so disgusting. Why do we have a quota system? Why are these police told to go arrest people when no one needs to be arrested? That sounds like you're just trying to keep people employed that don't need to be employed. If there's no crime going on in a community, don't make up crime in a community because that's called kidnapping. That's called that's embezzling, where you're just trying to keep contracts going. You're just locking people up for no reason.
You gotta link me with them people too, the couple, the brother and sister that got
Kimani Addison. So they were actually kidnapped.
Right.
Off the street.
You need to bring them on the show next too.
Yeah.
Their story, they went live and talking about their story.
They're going to be on the show.
I saw that like a day after.
Now understand that these officers. Now Kimani Addison, he was in juvenile with me.
Okay.
In juvenile, they teach us a curriculum called problem solving steps. There's 7 problem solving steps where you identify the problem. I don't know.
Mediation.
Yeah,
like mediation.
Yeah.
That's what these police need to do. Take mediation courses. Mediation matters.
Kimani, myself, other individuals, we graduated this program. When he left the juvenile, he was honors. That means that he knows how to use his problem solving steps. He knows how to use all his skills, his critical thinking skills, all these different skills in order to interact with people in today's society. He was trained by OCFS with a curriculum.
What's OCFS?
OCFS is Office of Children and Family Services.
Okay.
He was trained by OCFS on how to be a modern citizen, how to deal with individuals that are stressed out. Now, he did every single last one of the problem solving steps in that confrontation with the officer. Now, this officer continued to antagonize it.
I saw that. We saw it live.
All the way to the end where he just put hands on him for no reason, wrestled him to the floor, and his gang members all followed up in pursuit, and they slapped him on the floor, broke his girlfriend's arm, and went back to work. After taking him, they stole his car, drove it to the pound, brought him to the jail, to the precinct, and
kidnapping, carjacking,
all that. These charges,
right?
piled up.
If it was one of
and
us,
it's conspiracy. And it's a conspiracy because, again, when they went back to the office, Greg McGee, their union president, said, "Hey, now those ain't infractions. What are you doing?" He said, "Those aren't infractions. What are you doing? You can't fire them. You can't suspend them. Y'all can't arrest them right now for committing carjacking, kidnapping, assault."
Why they couldn't be arrested for doing these crimes when a regular citizen would have been arrested for doing these crimes?
Because their union president is the one that determines whether or not their actions were actually disciplinariable. They are the ones who pay for the lawyers to come support them. They are the ones that actually protects them. Now,
so it's
really,
pretty much they back each other up.
Exactly. And in other cities, all cities around this capital district, all these union presidents have been moving fragrantly. There was a case of a union president in Troy that stole money out of the union budget, like $6,000. He got arrested. It was a black man. They arrested him.
Right.
But Greg McGee, I don't know. There's a case, right? In about like 2014, I believe, where individual was walking. He was a known drug dealer. He was walking down the block on Central Avenue. I shared the story, and I can even have him come testify against this too. He was walking down the block on Central Avenue, right? And officers just pulled him over. They took his keys out of his pocket, put him in the backseat. Took his keys out of the pocket, tried every key on Central Avenue until they found his house. Then they went in his house, took drugs and money out, didn't report it.
Same thing.
Took him to jail. Took him to jail. He told on them. His super gave them the video. He told them when they would question, because on video they were coming out his house with all types of boxes and stuff. When they were questioned, they said, "Oh, we thought someone was in danger in his house. He was down the block. He's a known drug dealer. There's no indication that anyone's in his house. And when you do get to his house, all you can do is knock and say, hello, it's the police." You can't just go into someone's house, take their key, go in their house. With no warrant. Right. And when they did this, when they said that, they also asked where the drugs and stuff at. Why didn't you put in evidence? They said they forgot. And they don't know where the drugs was at.
Wow, you forgot.
And
you're an officer. You're trained.
But you know what they did? You know what their punishment was?
What's that?
Their punishment was to just go through a refresher training and how to put evidence into the locker and things like that. How to file evidence. That was their punishment.
Wow. And that's crazy because this I heard another thing about a law where they keep everything in house.
Oh, Article 50A.
Disciplinary. We speaking about that.
Article 50A.
Where?
Oh my gosh.
Where?
So
let people know about that.
Article 50A is like you was just saying. It's in our legislation where police departments are able to keep all disciplinary actions in house and just handle them in house. So we may see a cop, but we don't know that he has 100 infractions. He has 100 assaults.
And we want to know that because what?
Because they keep it all in-house. Right. And they're not going to do any disciplinary action because their union protects the officers. And truth be told, that is the one organization that does not need a union.
Right.
You don't need a union. Right. Why would you pay for lawyers for people with guns?
Right.
That's a game.
Right.
Y'all got a kitty. Clearly. And it's ran by these people who protect these criminals. Now, even if Chief Hawkins is a good guy, and if you are a good guy, your mayor, she put in an executive order that you must act when you see infractions from another officer. You must act when you see an infraction from another officer. You can't ignore it anymore. So now that it's in the executive order, you know that this guy is running a gang syndicate out of your police department. He must be indicted. He must be arrested. He must be escorted into prison. I don't know how better to say that, how easier to say that.
Right. What we're saying is, we live now. We got our own stage. We got our own platform. And they have something now. I guess they have something where you can speak to the mayor. To Hawkins,
they're actually doing a Zoom call, right? And it's so disrespectful because they're doing a Zoom call with the mayor, the chief of police, David Soares, and two of the Albany City councilmen. Why is Greg McGee not on this Zoom call? Why is he not on the Zoom call? And he is one of the people that will say exactly how he feels.
So we need him on that Zoom call.
Why is he not on that Zoom call? Right. Why is he hiding from us?
Right.
Why are they hiding him from us? Why is it that when the chief of police, the mayor comes out, Greg McGee is not with them all the time unless they need more money, unless they need more weapons, unless they need one of their cops to not be indicted? Why is he not always there? He's the real boss of the police, not the chief. He's not the boss. He doesn't tell people what to do, what they can't do. That's Greg McGee.
Okay, so we got this segment is called Solutions, right? Because we know we have a lot of problems, right? We have a lot of issues. We can talk about that all day, right? So I think now is pretty much to create some change, right? Have these conversations, create a community. Because I saw 11,000 in Troy yesterday, right? The day before.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah, it was before.
The day before. I'm listening.
Yeah, me too. We in it. So 11,000 in Troy. 11,000 in Troy the day before yesterday.
It was 500 in It was 500 in Del Mar. It was 1,500 in Clifton Park. It was like 2,000 in
2,000 in Glens Falls.
Yeah. It's numbers.
Park.
It's numbers.
It was 4,000 last week.
Yeah.
Last week in Albany at the Citizen Action.
Yeah.
Amy Jones,
And the next one is in Cohoes. The next big one is in Cohoes on Saturday, 1 o'clock. That's gonna be a good one. And
Cohoes, what time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. And this is the movement. It's continuing to grow. If you want to learn the location, follow me on Facebook at Lukee Forbes, Lukee Forbes, like the magazine. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at foreign something. Something is spelled SUMTHIN.
Every time I turn the TV, you leading all these marches, man.
Man, like I'm here for it. Like they want to ruin us, and they want us to fail. They don't want us to unite. They want to spread the lies of discrimination. We are in a sanctuary city. We are in a city where no one discriminates, where there are so many different types of walks and creeds. This is New York. This is the capital of immigration. Literally, Ellis Island is in New York. This is where people came through. There's no such thing as discrimination in New York. The reason why they want us to spread lies and terror is because they want people to ununify. They are afraid of everyone fighting against discrimination at the same time. They only want Black Lives to Matter right now, but yet they want to also ban the white supremacy flag. They want to ban the Confederate flag. They're trying to antagonize people and start wars and things like that. And we got to understand this. We got to understand and we got to see the enemy for what they're doing. They want to divide and conquer. I say one people united, because at the end of the day, as long as one people unite against all discrimination, no one shall fail. It's good versus evil. It's not black versus white. It's right versus wrong.
So pretty much, we get back to our conversation. And we got the brother came in. He was back there. He came with Luke. And you want to introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Negron. I'm an activist. I've been taking part in these protests right along with Luke since the beginning. What I do is I'm a bank teller for Capcom. Other than that, I spend most of my spare time being a father and fighting for the cause. So
okay, yes, sir. So now we know we need some of that grant money. We need some of that bank money. So to fund the movement, and then that's very important. It's very important. We have to have people in every division, right? Every division, every walk of life. But everybody can't be at one place at one time.
Yeah.
We have to move strategically in this movement and start.
Medic, security, right. All that.
So I heard some conversations.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I heard some conversations, some good conversations, and y'all want to update what we was speaking about.
Yeah, on the break, you guys were talking about rookie cops.
So we were talking about rookie cops. Now, rookie cops are so swayed by the senior officers there, and they're able to really encourage them to get into the violence in that moment where they are confronted and see people committing these violent acts and just getting away with it. It actually encourages the rookie cops to want to play part of it.
Even if they don't play part. Even if they don't play part, at the very least, there's strong encouragement to stay silent.
That's a fact.
And
because
not speak on what you just
not
saw.
for nothing. At that rally, I saw one of my guys I know that was standing around when they was roughing up the girl and the guy, and I said, "Come on, wait till I see this guy." I ain't gonna say his name, but I saw him, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm disappointed in you, brother.
He's disappointed in you.
Should have got up and said something.
Yeah, everybody might figure out.
And like I said, we was in a union together.
Yeah.
And in the construction union together, right? And when they called his name, we got up and walked. We was 30-year apprentices.
Yeah.
Got walked away. So I know he's doing it for the money, whatever the case is. But I'm disappointed in you, brother. We're gonna talk when I see you. I'm saying, but that's very important because it's like peer pressure.
It is peer pressure.
It's like I know if I say something to the senior officers, they're gonna treat me some type of way at the office or whatever the case. Or when I see them, they're gonna treat me some type of way. Like I gotta be down with the gang.
It can
right?
be potentially life-threatening. It can potentially be life-threatening because say you're the officer, you come in and you do what you know is right.
Right.
You stand up for what is right. You speak up on what you saw. Your entire precinct, good cops and bad, turn their back on you.
That's a fact.
You call for backup. You're in a real life situation. You could be taking fire or whatever the case may be. You're in a real life and death situation. You call for backup. You're left out there in the wind.
But understand, if you're a good cop and you telling these bad officers, call me and I'll make sure that you're good.
Stand with us and we will stand with you.
We're one people.
As
long as you're not united with us, it's a fight against right and wrong. If you're a good cop, I encourage you to speak.
That's a fact.
If they turn their back on you, the people won't. And I'm going to bring the media. We're going to expose these people turning their back on you because they're part of that gang. We getting them all out of there. Let's get them out of there. Why are we keeping criminals there?
Absolutely.
You joined the police to be a cop so that you could protect people, right?
Protect us.
Right.
So
another thing that basically that rookie cops deal with, they've done studies on how people act under authority. Now, all the universities that have done this study, what they've done is they actually took in civilians who didn't know what they were getting into at first, but they set some up as inmates and some up as COs. And they allow these people to just play their parts. And every time, the COs will become volatile. Every time, the COs will abuse their authority. And this happens where people know for a fact that they're pretending to be in these situations. But now when you give someone actual authority, you shouldn't give them a union to protect them. You should have an actual community review board with actual community members, not people you appoint that only you know. You should have actual community members always reviewing them. Quarterly reviews. Are you up to date on your mediation skills? How do you restrain people? Why is it that you're still walking around with guns when we know rubber bullets and tear gas works?
It come down to this. We pay you. Like, their paychecks come from our tax dollars. So why is it that they are answering to anyone except us?
The people, right? We the people. Right.
There should be no organization with authority, again, with college, universities, multiple of them, doing studies that prove that authority makes people get drunk off power. Why in earth would you unionize them? Why would you allow them to hide things from people if they were not created to be evil?
That's these conversations we have to have, and we need answers.
It's about solutions.
Exactly. That's what I was about to get to. That's what I was going to get to.
The brother named it solutions.
Solutions. What's the solutions to these issues that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis?
The solution is to get rid of the police union, lock up all their union presidents because currently they are committing crimes.
They're gang leaders.
Currently they are gang leaders. Let's lock them up and never reinstate that system again. Because again, we don't need to protect these people who would eventually, we know, will eventually start abusing their power.
At the very least, these union presidents are complicit in the crimes that their police precincts have committed. So we need to do away with the system. If we don't, the corruption is going to live on. Another thing, because there's two sides to the coin. Because on one side, you're dealing with absolute total corruption, which is police unions. We need to do away with that. On the other side of the coin, it's district attorneys. Now, this gets a little sticky. See, there's a number of reasons why district attorneys don't like to indict cops. One of them is because they like to. One of them is because the big one is the union president. Because even if a district attorney is at a point where he really wants to indict this cop, he's going to have to deal and answer to that cop's union president. And he's going to bring all kinds of smoke. So lawyers...
You're saying we need a new DA pretty much.
We have to hold our DAs accountable. We need to pay attention to what they are doing. And if they are unwilling and unable to hold these cops accountable, we will hold them accountable. And we will get somebody who will.
And to speak on that note, do we need a new DA? Our district attorney has been in office for 16 years. Our district attorney for 16 years has been overcharging our community. He labels 66 blocks the infection of Albany. He labels 66 blocks the problem areas. Now, these 66 blocks are also the high poverty areas. These 66 blocks also deal with the most mental illness. These 66 blocks also deal with a lot of substance abuse problems. But yet, he charges these 66 blocks with the most crucialest crimes, the hardest way that he can, to the fullest extent of the law, with no regret or moral bound there. We have a system that says, let's be harder on crime instead of solve the problems for a crime.
Right.
Now, we know for a fact if you continue to take these black fathers out of their household, it's going to make these single mothers have to work 20 times harder.
Right.
We know for a fact you take these black fathers out of these households, these kids are going to grow up without a positive male role model in their actual household, and they're going to be looking for the next best thing. We know for a fact that if you continue to take these black fathers out of the households, it is only going to continue up with this system. Now, whether or not you want to continue up with this system is proven in your actions. Because we can identify the actions and we know the solutions to solve this problem. We don't see the action of the solution being implemented. We see fluff. We see our mayor write executive orders talking about no choking when no one's being choked. We don't see her talking about no more kidnappings, no more false arrests.
No more excessive force, point blank period. Put it all under the same umbrella. Excessive force, because everything falls under that. kidnapping,
yelling,
theft auto, assault,
murder. What are you yelling at people for? You are a mediator. Mm-hmm. Why would you come there yelling? Mm-hmm. Mediators do not yell. Mm-hmm. They mediate. Mm-hmm. If your police officers can't keep their calm, you know who else is failing? Mm-hmm. They're psych evaluators. Mm-hmm. They're trainers. Mm-hmm. These people must be held accountable. Let's fire somebody. Mm-hmm. Let's arrest these criminals. Because if we're not arresting criminals, we're not firing incompetent people. Mm-hmm. What is this?
What are we doing? And every police precinct knows exactly who their aggressive and
beat up squads are.
Yes.
Let's call it what it is. It's a beat up squad. Mm-hmm. Because we call it beat up squads. Y'all jokingly call it beat up squads. So it's steps, not funny.
What's the steps we can take to get rid of this, break this gang down, or break this troublesome group down?
We watched them do it with the OGK.
Right.
We watched them do it with the Jungle Junkies.
Right.
We watched them do it with the Bloods.
Right.
We watched them do it with the Crips.
Right.
We need to do that same thing to them.
Right.
It's called RICO.
Right.
It's called RICO. Because you got people committing robberies. You got people selling drugs. You got people kidnapping. You got people committing murders, assaults, cover-ups, embezzlement.
So we just bring on the same charges.
It's called the RICO conspiracy.
They use it on us.
It's called an organized crime syndicate. It's called hidden in plain sight. It's called how can you arrest us when we're the arresters?
Right. So that's a solution for that. That's a solution.
That's their solution.
And also,
what would be your right now? It's a lot of tension going on, right? What would be your how would they call it? Pie in the sky, right? They call it the vision of a good outcome for this. Or
So accountability, like he just said. All right. So if these psych evaluators are failing and they can't continue to, if they keep passing people that just come into situations aggressively, so you're not good at telling if people have mental issues and are angry all the time. So you're not good at that. So you're fired. Okay. We could get this one here who knows that if you mess up, you're going to be fired too.
So putting the right people in the right places. Like we've had conversations earlier, like a lot of these programs, they're not supporting people that they're supposed to be giving it to, right?
The Albany Land Bank, right? They just put out a letter that was saying they're going to start allocating funds to the organization.
I wish they would, because I tried to apply for the Albany Land Bank, and their excuse for me not getting a property, which I was offering them double what they was asking for it, 2 properties. Their excuse was my application was good, everything qualified. I wasn't in the closer proximity. Somebody was in the closer proximity of the property that I was going for, and I'm right across the street from the property.
So they was next door.
Right. Like the person next door bought it.
They was right. That's what I still never got an answer back from them about that.
So now
it was just like, oh, we can't indulge that information, but
they
it's for the community. It's for the community, right? You're supposed to be making a better community, right? But y'all putting up these blocks so the community can't build, right? Y'all giving to agencies, right?
They make it so much easier for agencies to get it because the agency only has to show that they have the money. Now, an individual, they make sure, no, you got to have 7 years of tax returns. Right. You got to have all these different things. Right. Your plan has to be A1. I don't care that you just want to.
Right.
I don't care that you just want to build this up and take care of it and live in it and. Wait a minute. Isn't that their mission?
Right. In the same community that you're getting the funds from. You're getting the funds saying that you're doing out.
Isn't their mission to give the houses to the people in the community?
That's what I thought.
Allow them to fix it up.
That's why I'm confused.
Allow them to live in it.
So I'm confused.
So let's speak on it. And I'm not gonna say land bank specifically, but we know that agencies, organizations, especially in impoverished neighborhoods, will get all of this money put onto their budget that they're supposed to allocate here and distribute over here. But what really ends up happening is their pie is so big, they put one slice here, one slice here, and there's 6 left remaining. What happens to those 6 slices? Because it doesn't get allocated over here. It's not getting distributed over here.
Yet these board directors are driving around in Mercedes,
living in West, on
living
top of
in
the hill, looking down,
living in Niskayuna.
Right.
Like y'all salaries is $100,000 a year. Like it don't make sense that the money is allocated to the high poverty communities, but no one in the high poverty community is eligible for these funds.
Exactly.
Because you make it to the point that your credit score is too low, but you put it in this community because you know my credit score is too low.
Right. Either it's too low or it's too high.
Like
It's like either way. It's like
my credit score is low because this is a high poverty community. Why put money over here if you're going to make the cap off at middle class?
Right.
Then put this funds in the middle class. Don't put it over here.
So I think that should be our aim, right? Allocate the funds where it's supposed to go. Make these accountability, right? Make these agencies accountable for what they're supposed to be getting these funds for. If I write a grant and say I'm funding this community right here, and the whole community don't even know who you are, that's a problem.
Or
right?
the whole community isn't eligible.
Right.
Because everyone here is
Right.
broke.
Right. So you said you saw something on the land bank?
So the land bank, they just put out a letter again for the Black Lives Matter thing. Everyone's trying to jump on, say that they are supporting of Black Lives, like the mayor did when she just wasted mad money on painting on the streets, like on the ground.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, yes,
Right.
you spent money.
You could have gave us that money. We would have done a lot
Right.
more with it.
Right.
Why spend money on painting on the ground? But again, the land bank, they put out a letter saying that they're going to allocate money to resources and things like that to help the black community. They said they're going to also give it to leaders. So I actually hit them up. I'm a community leader.
Right.
And I was
They
like,
respond to you?
no,
people.
no. They didn't respond to me. They didn't hit me back. And again, the organization.
We said this on live.
I was just thinking that.
This shit.
All of this was good.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back on live for a minute. Hold on, let's go back on live. We're gonna go back on live. For a minute. Yeah, we're gonna go back on.
But see, that's good content
Yeah.
to get them. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
That's good extra content for
We're gonna go
YouTube.
back on live. Hold on. And we back after a small break. We felt like we needed to share this.
We had our
Back after a
commercials.
small break. Yeah.
Had our commercial break. Everybody ate a donut. We're all back.
It was more than that. You're gonna have to look out for the YouTube.
Yeah, you gotta watch the YouTube because we pretty much talking about. But right now we were speaking about the agencies that's supposed to be looking out for the community. The land bank. We just speaking about the land bank situation. I guess I applied for that. And I over qualified for that, and they still told me that I was a property that was in close proximity of the properties I was going for, which I don't know what that means because I'm right across the street from the property I was looking at.
So unless it's your neighbors buying the property,
right?
Who that went to, we don't know. But he apparently lives closer.
Right, and then you said you saw something on the site.
So I seen that they post a letter stating that they were allocating money and supports to the Black Lives Matter movement. Like recently, how the mayor just spent all that money on painting on the ground instead of giving it to the people that need it.
Right.
That's saying, hey, Black Lives Matter. Instead of giving us the money, you want to paint on the ground.
Right.
But cool, that makes
And
sense.
we could have done more with that money.
Who did she pay to do that? Who did she pay to do that?
She actually had DGS do that. So everyone that was working, they either worked overtime or were working on their clock, getting paid to do that instead of actually filling in the potholes or cleaning out the trash cans
Right.
or
Feeding the homeless people.
like doing any of the other things DGS could have been doing today.
Right.
She had them sitting there painting on the floor. But okay, so that's one thing that's going on. But back to the land bank. So the land bank said that they're allocating funds to people in supports of the Black Lives Matter movement. They're going to allocate funds to organizations that help and leaders as well. So I wrote them and I said, hey, I'm a community leader. I'll work with organizations that pulse, people uniting local support everywhere. We actually unite local support everywhere. We don't just like, and everyone's eligible for us.
Right.
Now, they said that they were allocating funds towards that. I reached out to them, still haven't heard anything back. And again, the places that they're allocating these funds to, these people tell us we're not eligible.
Right.
Like, no one in our community qualifies for these grants because their credit is too low. They don't make enough money. But yet, why allocate...
Make too much money.
Make too much money. But why allocate funds to a high poverty area where you know people's credit scores are low and you know they don't make that much money?
And to my understanding, you're able to build these companies or these organizations because of the poverty that's going on in these communities, to fix these communities. But when there's community leaders that's trying to get these funding and allocate it to the community don't even know who you are. A lot of these companies don't even know where they are or who they are, what do they do. Like the land bank, I know they have properties. They give up properties for $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 that taxes wasn't paid on, whatever the case is.
Now, the land bank is so annoying because as an agency, you can go to the land bank easy and just show them, like, hey, I have money.
Right.
But as an individual, you got to back out tax returns, all these things. You got to show.
I think that's a problem because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because if you're in these communities, I feel like if you're in these communities and you give a person a building that's in these communities that's from this block that these buildings are on, that has family, ancestry's been there, they're gonna bring these communities up versus bringing somebody that's from West Bubble. I mean, well, now you're from the area that's gonna come back, take out the community and leave.
The land bank's mission statement says that they are trying to help the community build itself up, but yet they don't really sell these houses to the people in the community.
So
they don't provide it.
Right.
So their mission statement
is a cover-up.
It's a lie.
Right.
It's literally just lying. It's saying, hey, there's false advertisement. Let's call it for what it is, because things are named.
Right.
Like, things have names.
Right.
So it's false advertisement where they say, hey, we want people in the community to build these up. But no, you only really sell to these agencies from Connecticut, from Massachusetts, from Vermont.
I'd be willing to bet that the land bank can't even name Albany's community leaders.
They probably can name like 5. And that's only because 5 people really like circulate
Those are
around.
the 5. These are the 5
that's actually that actually circulate around them. I can't even say a headache for them because at the end of the day they don't have to listen.
We have some comments coming in too. Just 1 second. Someone mentioned something about Irv.
Who's dropping the jewel today? I can't think. Who said that? One person? I can't.
Okay, we'll just keep it
Yeah.
What did they say?
Turned the camera sideways. Somebody said he was dropping jewels.
Yeah.
Sidney McDonald. But Sidney McDonald, he was dropping some jewels on him.
Someone just said, Irv Ackerman Foss can answer questions on Land Bank. He's my brother and is affiliated with them.
That's cool.
I know Irv too.
I know Irv. And Irv is a real guy. Irv will take you to the property. Irv will show you around the property. But Irv is not the person behind the back doing the paperwork.
Right.
And I appreciate Irv. And again, this is not at the people
Irv is the bro,
who are at the front door. This is at the people who decide on whether or not your plan is valid. Or whether or not your credit score is too low.
We're going for the top of the pyramid.
Because
at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of people that work in a number of agencies and organizations that are literally just trying to do their job, provide for their family, and go home. And that's admirable. But at the same time, we're paying attention to what these organizations and agencies are doing.
And saying.
We're following the money. We're seeing where the money is coming in, and we're seeing how much is going out. And when there's a discrepancy, we're going to hold you accountable.
It's no reason for nonprofit organizations to be ran by people who are just in there and they're driving around in Mercedes. They live in Niskayuna. They have all this money, but their agencies are nonprofit. Right. You're only supposed to be being paid your salary. You have no way of taking in the actual fee just as an owner.
Right. And
so
it's not just the land bank. It's not just the land bank, but land bank is a big part of the community because when we drive by and see these abandoned properties and people sitting in front of them next door, they could own these properties. They could take ownership of these properties, which is called empowerment. I have properties. I'm saying so when I reached out to them on some, let me get this property. It's like I get blocking. You don't know why I can't apply. Why I don't apply for it, but I can't apply because I wasn't in close proximity. But I'm right across the street. I don't get it, right? So I say that to say it's just not the land bank. You know, it's not the land bank. It's other agencies as well.
Like
we need to put the right people in the right places.
Home, what's that? The home renewal program thing. You know what I'm talking about? The renewal program, the housing renewal thing.
Right.
So
right.
they're supposed to be allocating funds as well to our community, and their process again is not the average person's in our community eligibility rate.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for tokens.
Right.
You're literally just looking for tokens, like a few people who may qualify for this grant, and that's only like
3
maybe
success stories you can
like
put on a website.
3 people this whole year, but you have a whole $50 million budget. Like it makes no sense. Even the South Pearl, oh my gosh, Albany housing. I'm in Albany school, the Albany High.
Right.
190 million.
Right.
190 million went into that, right? Now, Adiabro, they had got it set up to the point that they signed a contract that said they had to hire 30% of the people from this community to work on there. Albany High
school, right?
They didn't sign that contract.
And everybody from that school is from this community.
Yeah, but
right.
they didn't sign that contract. They brought in outside people to get this
That's
inside money.
That's a problem.
And then they signed a small contract with Mission Accomplished to try to pull in people. But even that, they weren't really supporting it to the point that they can really bring in the type of people they needed to bring in. And then things take time. They weren't really willing to sit there and wait.
So this whole thing is based on solutions. So we know it's a problem. It's a big problem, right? So I this whole podcast, these interviews are about solutions, right? What is our solution to get into the problem, to fixing this problem?
And
these guys can speak too. That y'all watching live, y'all can speak too. Right? I want y'all to engage. So we got y'all live.
It starts with us. It starts with us, and it's being able to hold people accountable. Accountability is a thing. Incompetence is a thing.
I was asked a question, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was asked a question. I was having a social media discussion with a white friend that we've had some arguments since 2016, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there, but I can have discussions with this person. I can talk to this person, share points of view. And he had asked me a question. He said, I want to know what you think it would take for everything to just stop, for us to get back to a normal sense of life. And I had told him, I said, bro, if we could expect justice, if we could expect accountability when there's corruption, whether it be in law enforcement or agencies and organizations that are supposed to be helping us, but meanwhile turning their back. If these things weren't going on, people would be home. We'd be working, and we'd be coming home, play with our kids, our brothers, our sisters, our parents.
It wouldn't be out there. No one would be yelling, "No justice, no peace." If there was justice
and peace, right.
Like literally, it's the want.
Listen to what we say.
The want is in the chance. No justice, no peace. What do we want? Justice. When do you want it? Now. Like it's literally in the chance. So when people ask for solutions, all we're asking for is accountability and justice, because justice already been written. These are things that have already been written. And again, like as I was watching a Kanye interview the other day, right? And people look at Kanye West like he's crazy. Like he's even labeled crazy.
Right.
And it's so beautiful to listen to him because he's not.
Right.
Everything he's been saying is true. Like we're watching everything Kanye said.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Even when it's talking about these major corporations. It may not be the corporation he hate. It's just the people in them seats.
Systems. We need to recreate these systems.
Exactly.
Right.
The people in those seats. Because at first when he was arguing with Nike, he was just arguing about his margins. The people who were coming to him were offering him messed up deals. When he went to Adidas, he was still complaining about his margins, but they gave him a better deal than Nike was when you're just trying to be disrespectful. You get what I'm saying?
I love that you brought up that we're trying to change systems too, because one of my many deep conversations with my brother Lukee here, at the rally, as a matter of fact, I remember I had said that we're not fighting cops. right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big piggyback into the police brutality conversation. We're not fighting against cops. I said we're fighting against systems,
mm-hmm.
institutions,
mm-hmm.
and codes.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that we're targeting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not targeting any man or woman that wears a uniform.
Right.
I might need you one day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Again, blue lives do matter.
And not for
but
none,
bad guys gotta go.
And not for none, the strength is in the numbers. Like I said, we saw 11,000 in Troy yesterday. We saw 4,000 in Albany a week before that.
Now,
We
look
saw
at the
numbers.
world.
There's numbers here.
Look at the
At
world.
least 50,000.
Look at the world like American Idol.
Mm.
The world is exactly like American Idol. When you see us at these protests, we're the people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
We're just the audience.
Mm.
It's the people at home that vote last.
See who's right.
You get what I'm saying? You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we are the ones that's on, like, we're in front and center. We see the stage. We see what's going on. So we know who actually saying good.
Mm-hmm.
But the audience, they just heard the pictures.
Mm.
They just seen the cuts that they went to.
Mm.
And they vote last.
Mm.
So when people stand in front of a precinct and just look at cops, you give us bad PR. Stop doing that. Stop it. It's not cool. It's not smart. Stop it. Stop it. Stop doing that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that and say that you think Black Lives Matter. Because when you do that, you defeat the purpose of this thing. It is American Idol. The people, the silent majority, are the ones who speak last. And these politicians, they confuse them with showing the propaganda that we are violent people, that we don't know how to do things justice. They kill us with the media. Understand your power of media. Understand how to do proper PR. Understand what we are doing here. One people united. We don't need to stand up against cops where they will try to only show that part and only show the aggravated parts instead of showing the peaceful protests where you have babies screaming no justice, no peace.
One of the biggest words, and if not one of the most used words throughout this entire discussion, I would say, is accountability.
Accountability.
Right? And when you go and you have a standoff and a confrontation at a police precinct with the police, understand, one, we know history. We know that you don't have to be violent to be met with violence. Mm-hmm. And secondly, the minute that you do that, regardless of what those cops come out with, whether it's the tear gas, the pepper spray, rubber bullets, beanbag bullet, whatever it is that they decide to use on you, understand that they don't have to answer to anyone because of that. You are on their steps. They are going to defend their steps in their building. And anything they do to you, we're not going to be able to hold those cops accountable for. It defeats the purpose of what we are actually trying to move toward.
Any comments?
Yeah, there's a couple. There's someone named Visha who says, the land bank doesn't help me. They don't help at all. I had to show them my plan and prove that I had the money to fix it up. Most people don't have that kind of money on hands. And A-Bar, I guess he was commenting on solutions.
A-Bar, okay.
So he said community beneficial agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, A-Bar, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yes, sir, brother. Let's go. Let's work.
You have Irv. Irv says facts.
Okay, Irv.
Yeah, Irv. You hear us, Irv.
Okay, Irv.
You hear us, man. We ain't saying nothing wrong, man.
Yeah, you know we not, brother.
He said, I'm taking on the fight right now. It needs to change. Our community has been discriminated against.
Who's that,
And
Irv?
we need you in the fight, brother.
We need you, brother.
See, bro, you here with us, bro.
You
hear us
in the trenches.
We ain't saying nothing wrong, man. We got you. You got us. You know,
Yes,
we see real. We know what's really going on, man. It's not you.
Ain't crazy.
Let's see.
I want to see Greg McGee comment.
Yeah, where is Greg McGee?
Yeah, man, this freaking guy. He need to go to jail, man. I ain't go. That's the solution.
Yeah.
Send Greg McGee to prison. Give him life. How many years they gave Lex Diamond? They gave Lex Diamond 100 years, B. 100 years.
We need to come at him with Rico.
But yeah, we got a lot of stuff that when we pause, it's gonna be on the YouTube. You know, discussion and everything. We want to keep these discussions going. These discussions is to build community, to build dialogue in the community.
So you have someone else who says that it's time that we close the deal. What is our mission? They have suggestions. So where are we directing people? Who can they call What's the website? What's the YouTube channel? How can they get in contact if they want to be a part of this?
Global.
Go to my Facebook page, Lukee Forbes, Lukee. I've posted a petition to help repeal Article 50A. That's the article that allows police to keep all their disciplinary actions in house. We need that out of there. I want to see all the crooked things that these police officers are doing. And
another thing, we need a list of all the victims that have been killed by police. We need a list of all those officers' names that's been brutalized or been hurt by police.
Yeah.
We need a list of those names too. So if anybody had comments, and you can get to us, we have an email, allstreetglobal@gmail.com, or solutionsforglobe@gmail.com, or you can hit me on the Facebook, or you can hit Lukee on the Facebook, or you can get in touch with us. We're not hard to find. We're not hard to find.
And that even goes for even if you just had property or other things stolen from you
by police officers,
because that too is illegal.
All the crooked things the officers did. Send us a list of those names. We need names.
Send us everything. If you've been any type of conflict with the police officers, I don't care if it was a pullover and they just called you something you didn't like. Just comment, report it, tell us. Let us know.
You can inbox it if you want to put out this inbox.
We are exposing their untrained aggression.
Understand that Article 50A hides all their disciplinary actions, but what they don't know is that we are the community. We are your disciplinary actions. We must hold these people accountable. Don't allow your voice to be silent because you're afraid of these criminals that pretend to be cops.
These thugs
that pretend to be cops.
These thugs.
Yeah, we're gonna close out. We're gonna close out. We're not gonna finish the discussion. We're gonna close out. So if any solutions, any last solutions that y'all want to put out to the table, I got the forum.
So again, follow me on my Facebook, LukeeForbes. I'm posting a bunch of petitions all the time. I'm posting a bunch of different ways that we're going to solve this problem, again, with the protests. And I'm sharing all the knowledge that I have, like about the census, about voting, about your legal rights, things like that. I've even started a business 101 that teaches people how to basically start their own business and build their own portfolios and things like that. So we're here for it.
And it's the leaders of the marches. So it's not just thugs out here running around breaking up stuff. It's people with things to lose, with education, with knowledge. That's behind a lot of this systematic change that we want to see.
And the system is what taught me, because the system is why I'm such a monster. I did 7 years. My first 2 years, I read 826 books. I studied the law, and I appreciate the fact that y'all did that.
Can I ask a general question here? I want to ask you a general question, obviously to the brothers at the back of the table, and even the sister that's behind the camera. All right, who here has had an interaction or dealing with law enforcement in which they pulled their firearm out on you? How many of you were minors when it happened?
I was choked and all that, but early police, they choked all types of stuff.
Yo, I remember a cop pulled the gun out on me, right, when I was walking down Delaware Avenue when I was like 14 years old. I'll never forget this day because it pissed me off.
I was 15 walking from football practice.
He pulled me over, right? Hopped out of his car. This one stop and frisk was lit. Pulled me over, hopped out of his car, guns on me. 2 of them. And I'm looking at him like, yo, what's going on? And he says, stop, you fit the description. It's a random search. He says, stop, you fit the description. It's a random search.
I gotta get my story after you're done.
I'm like, yo, if you don't yell, you yelling contradictions at me. But like they just literally just pulled me over, and that's when stop and frisk was a thing. And they just stopped and they frisked me, and then they threw me in the paddy wagon and drove me home. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you driving me home? I was going somewhere.
So my story.
Reaching that quota, he's trying to reach that quota.
Yeah.
So my story, I was about 15 or 16, walking home from football practice. It was the day before Halloween, so mischief night or whatever you call it. And I'm walking home from football practice, and I swear to you, I felt like I was Osama bin Laden the way that they enclosed and approached me, because I almost thought there had to be some serious criminal behind me. Because it was just like I'm walking, and out of nowhere, 4 squad cars just come in, turn in. They stepping out the car, bulletproof vests, gun drawn. Apparently, I fit the description of someone who was shooting in the area. Now, mind you, I never heard of shootings happening, at least within the community. But the cops said that someone was shooting in the area and I fit the description. So 15, 16 years old, they pulled out their guns, wrestled me down to the ground. I had my head resting on the sidewalk.
It's
and he was putting pressure on my head.
It's painful.
Traumatizing. It's traumatizing.
Completely,
traumatizing. We could talk a million stories, a million stories about that, a million different stories. But our thing now is solutions now.
It starts with us.
Accountability, right?
Accountability.
My thing is go at these agencies that
RICOs.
Right. Accountability. RICOs. Accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability. That's what
I'm saying.
Accountability. Right.
Indict Greg McGee. Lock him up. Lock him up. He has to go to jail. He has to. That's the only way we will believe you. If you're not a liar, if you don't believe in bad, if you think that cops are good, like if you're a good cop, lock up Greg McGee.
We gotta fight organized crime.
So we're gonna sign out now. We're gonna keep these things going as well. So like I said, if you have any comments, you can reach out. You can Lukee Forbes. You can reach out.
I'm Steven Negron, and also I didn't give my social, so I'll do that really quick. My social medias, Facebook is literally my name. That's Steven spelled with a V, Negron. If you need help, if you want to help get involved, I'll definitely keep you in the loop. As
he's in Comcast too. If y'all need some loans and all that, we're gonna run
Capcom.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the banks. They always shut me down. I'm trying to learn that system too.
I learned that. That's how they will.
Go with a credit union.
Okay.
Yeah. Stay away from your big nationalized banks that have a headquarters in Vancouver that don't distribute the money within the community. Credit unions distribute money within the community, and we need our own banks.
Some of them don't, though. Some of them don't. A lot of them don't, too. There'll be a lot
I ain't gonna lie. You get crazy, bro. You get crazy with this community, bro.
Right. I'm not gonna speak on any.
They look out, you think?
Yeah, they look out.
Their neighbors aren't a lot.
Bro. They look out.
Okay.
Half the things in this community is funded by
Okay. Like I said, bro, credit
so
unions.
we have a one-on-one with them.
Yeah. Credit unions is like
you can though. That's the whole thing.
Okay. So we need that. Financial literacy is important in the community. The brother Conroy Green spoke about that, but we got this. The solutions project is big, right? It's big. We work and we building communities. They got Wall Street. We got all streets. And we signing out.
One city,
united.